In this video, I'm going to show you the difference between two types of arrays, the two-dimensional array and the jagged array. And we're going to be building our program very fast with Copilot. Now, to be able to use AI or Copilot in your Visual Studio Code, you just need to make sure that you've got the extensions GitHub Copilot and GitHub Copilot Chat. Additionally, when I installed Visual Studio Code, I also had the C# dev kit. I thought I mentioned it. Okay, once you've got Copilot installed, then you actually need to log in. So I've logged in to GitHub using my account, and now I'm ready to be using the AI agent here on the right. Okay, so what I've actually got is I have created a new console application in Visual Studio Code, and I've got my project accessible from Explorer on the left. And let's start using AI to help us do our work. So I've actually got prompts there because I didn't want to sit down and type everything in front of you and just hurt you with my spelling mistakes. So basically we're gonna start by, I'm gonna tag at workspace because now Copilot will understand my whole project when I ask it questions. It won't just look at just this prompt and give me just random code snippets. So that's the whole workspace. Although it doesn't have anything in it, but it's good to do this so that when your program starts to get bigger, you want Copilot to look at that whole project. Then I ask it to create a single file program that compares C# arrays, a rectangular 2D, and a nested or jagged. So both mean the same thing in this case. Yeah. So include a 2D. So I actually tell it it's an integer, and I want it to be called grid 2D. And then I ask it to create a jagged integer. Again, data type is an integer, and I name it jagged. And I'd like it to have uneven row lengths, just to show you that this is possible with jagged arrays, but not in grid, not in 2D arrays. And then I ask it to print both structures clearly. So it will do all the looping for us, the rows for 2D and at row index for the jagged. And I ask it to show two indexing examples for both arrays. And I'd like it to keep it small and beginner friendly because I don't want the video to be very, very long. And I'm going to paste my whole prompt right here and hit send. So now it gives me a simple C# program that demonstrates both rectangular 2D arrays and jagged arrays, print them clearly, and shows the requested indexing examples. So look at all of that beauty. Look at the code. So that it's initialized, initializes the arrays, both the jagged and the nested, and the 2D. And then it prints the 2D array, then it prints the jagged array, and then it gives me gosh, okay. And then it gives me examples of how to access the indices and what it should print as well. So grid 2D is a rectangular array. All rows have 3 columns. So let's go back here. Oh, actually, let me show you how to make use of this. So you can either apply in the editor, and you can insert at cursor, or you can copy. So I'm going to copy the whole thing. Then you've got also further options. I'm going to copy the whole thing because I've actually started off with it with nothing in my file. So that should work for me. And I'm just going to save it, make sure I haven't got any errors, which I doubt. But anyway, so basically it's telling me grid 2D is a rectangular array. Now all rows, so this is row 0, row 1, row 2, basically 3 rows. They all have 3 columns. So if I actually add another column to one of them, it's going to complain. All right, and a jagged array over here is basically row 1 has 2 elements. Sorry, row 0 has 2 elements, row 1 has 3 elements, and row 2 has 2 elements. And the output is, I'm just reading from here, output is formatted for clarity. So that's printing out the 2D array, the jagged array, and then indexing examples show how to access elements in both types. That's really amazing. So now I want to ask it, can you please explain um, each block or line, depending on the situation, depending on, I don't want it to explain the constant, but yeah, it probably will do that. Okay, let's see. So here's an explanation. Basically, let me start from the beginning. We start with importing the system namespace. And then here we um, define the program and class and its entry point. Oh, I like that because now I don't even need to look at the car. I can just look here. And then we create a 2D array called grid 2D with 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and 3 columns. So each row has 3 columns. So you can look at it like that. And a jagged array declaration um, basically creates a jagged array called jagged, where each row have a different length. Like we said, the first one's got 2 elements, the second array has 3 elements, and the third has 2. Sometimes I say first, second, and third, but if we're looking at the indices, then, like here, that's index 0, 1, 2. Okay, then printing the rectangular 2D array. So the first loop, or first we print the label, basically this line. And then the outer loop iterates over the rows. So the first one is going to go row by row. And the inner loop will iterate through or over the columns. And notice how it's accessing the row and each column. So it's going to basically go like that in that order. And then it prints each element separated by spaces. After each row, it prints a new line. Basically this line here. So when we look at, oh, I should actually run the program. Let's do run. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so this is the result of the printed of basically this part here. So it separates each element, each value by a space. And then it prints a new line, so then it takes us to the second line and so on. So that was our first 2D array. Then we want to print the jagged array, so this part here. So basically we print the label, this label, and then the outer loop iterates over the rows. So this is just giving us the raw index, basically 0, 1, 2. And where does it say? So prints the raw index in brackets, so basically square brackets. And let me just make this slightly bigger like that. I feel like I'm not in the right line. Yeah, this part here. Okay. And then the inner loop iterates over each element in the current row. So then it will basically, where is the initialized, this one? So it will print the row, each array, each element in the array, basically. And also it separates them by spaces. So the first loop is going through each array, and then in each array, the second loop is looking at each element at that particular row. After each row, then we print a new line. Yep, that's how you get there. And then the indexing examples, the last part here, I'm just gonna keep the code here for this part so we can see what's going on. Access and prints a specific element from each array. And the first one, the grid 2, we're trying to access the first row, so this row here, and the third element, so basically the 0, 1, 2, so that's the value 6. And for the jagged array, we are looking at 0, 1, 2, so we're looking at the last one, and then element 1, so that would be 0, 1, so that would be the value 16. All right, let me know if you want a deeper explanation. I have questions. No, it's fine, but I would like to know, so what is the main differences between both types of arrays. If I can have, if I can have a, see, I told you, summary, that would be great. Let's see what it tells us. Here's a summary of the main differences between rectangular 2Ds. And by the way, this applies to any dimension. So it's 3D, 4D, and not just, sorry, yeah, not just 2D arrays, and jagged arrays in C sharp. So the rectangular 2D array is all rows have the same number of columns. So yeah, like we saw, we can't add more columns there. Will give us an error. Memories are located as a single block, and to access with two indices, so you need to specify the row separated by comma and the column. So here's an example. So you can see as well when we try to access, this is a great example showing you the difference in accessing each element. So in this part, you separate the row and the column with a comma, and the second one is we'll see what it tells us. In the jagged array, each row can have a different length, like we saw here. And memory is allocated as separate arrays for each row, and it is accessed with two indices. So the first indices is the row, and the second one specifies the column. So in summary, use a rectangular 2D array when all rows are the same. Use a jagged array when rows have different lengths. So that's just when to use which. Jagged arrays are often offer more flexibility, but rectangular arrays are simpler for uniform data. So it really depends on what you need to be able to choose which type to work with. So this is how you can use AI or Copilot within VS Code to really write code faster, and that way you can focus on evolving your program rather than spending too much time trying to fix the loop, or you forgot a semicolon, or so now you don't need to worry about all that, and you can just focus on creating really high quality applications with AI. Um, as long as you make sure you understand what the code is, what AI is giving you. But yeah, so I hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.